made it to Arizona for Nikea's birthday. We're getting ready to go and look at the hot tub in these little cute little condos. It's so bright out today, which is nice. I swear if we ever get a second like home or something, we will get a place like this. Like the pool is literally heated, it's so warm. Out to the pool and it's so nice out here. Like we've been just enjoying it so much. I brought these seltzers. They're so good. They're made with like real fruit and I cannot stop talking about them because they're so freaking good. Good morning. We're getting ready to go on a hike and I am a bit nervous, like actually nervous. I feel like I never really get nervous for this kind of stuff, like working out, like anything fitness related, but I am nervous for this hike because we're going on a hard hike. And Brady and I have literally never been on a hike before. Like, I mean, we've been on like a hike in Colorado, but it was like more of like a trail, like not like up rocks kind of thing. We're going with friends who like typically hike, but we're not gonna say no to the challenge, you know what I mean? So we're getting ready to go do that. I'm wearing shorts. I'm wearing this like long sleeve top thing because I get like hot easy and it's supposed to be like colder up in Sedona, so I don't really know like what the vibe is gonna be like with me like moving around, but I'm really excited to see. I am currently reading these two books. I thought that I would have this finished before I came here, but I haven't finished it yet, and so I feel like I'll probably finish it on the ride up. I'm not gonna bring my camera because we have like only these water packs. We're not carrying like actual backpacks, and since we only have the water packs, like I don't want to take up space in there with my camera. So yeah, I am gonna leave this behind, but I will be bringing my phone, so you guys will get bits of the little like hike that we're doing. I also started Post-Traumatic by Chantal V. Johnson. This is a really good book. I didn't really know what to expect with it just because the writing is definitely different than what I normally like gravitate towards, because it does have a lot of inner monologue, but I think I'm enjoying it a lot because the character, like, you don't know what she's gonna do. Like, she's kind of unhinged in a way. Like, I actually don't know if I'd say unhinged. She's just like very introspective, and I don't really know where the story is going. I guess I'll say that. And that is one thing that I really like about reading contemporary fiction or literary fiction. You don't know where it's going, and usually it doesn't have a happy ending. Sometimes it does, but because you don't know where it's going, you just are always on for like a wild ride with the story. Whereas with this, I feel like there's probably gonna be a happily ever after with the story. So yeah, reading both of these. I think I'm gonna take this one on the car ride because I do want to finish this one, and then maybe like leave this one. Not really sure exactly, but I'm really excited. Very nervous to go on this hike, but I am gonna make a video over on Instagram and TikTok. So if you guys want to see like stuff in real time, you guys can go over there and watch it. Actually, I made this little video like a few days ago talking about like my fitness and stuff over there, and I know so many of you guys have asked like about meals and things like that, and so if that's something that you're interested in, you can go over there along with obviously the bookish chats. So I'm gonna go inside and try to get up the courage to like just be confident in like this whole hiking situation. Let me show you my outfit. Okay, so this is my outfit. This right here I think is from Fabletics, and then this is just like a regular, it's not even like Nike. I don't even know where I got it. I think I just got like a regular like Dick's Sporting Goods or whatever. I'm wearing these hiking boots from mine are Hoka's. We got On Cloud hiking boots for Brady. We wanted to get something that would like be really comfortable. These are super comfy and soft. And then these socks are, I don't know what they are, but I'll link them on Instagram if you guys want to see. I think I'm gonna keep my hair in a ponytail, but if it gets like too hot, I'm gonna put it up. We have these packs with like water in them, and then I put like deodorant in there. We're making like sandwiches to bring up with us, and that kind of thing. So hopefully we can just have a nice little walk, and it's not too crazy, but the walk is, or the hike is supposed to be hard. Like it literally says hard. So hopefully we make it out okay. They're like 5 minutes in and I'm already out of breath. It's crazy because I like do Pilates, hard workouts, like CrossFit stuff. We're halfway. We made it past like one of the hardest parts. This is where we started. Almost there. This better be worth it. Oh my. I think I would do it again, but only if it's like just like this, like hard but short. Made it up the second like little like mountain situation, and I am I'm good on hiking for today. Like this is good. This last one was like definitely a lot easier than the other one. I think doing hard hikes for short distances is like perfect. If it were like a hard hike and it were long, I don't know, I would have a hard time making it, but because it was short, it was a lot easier. So this one was also really short, and it was also very easy for this one too. So we're just kind of waiting for sunset to see how that looks out here. I wish I had brought my book, even though it's in the car. If I had known it was like going to be this short, I probably would have brought it out, just because it's so pretty out here. I feel like just sitting and like looking at the mountains and stuff is a great way to relax. We're headed to a little farmer's market. How was your birthday yesterday?
It was perfect.
We went out.
So much fun.
Went to dinner, like did the whole thing. I don't even think I brought like my camera at all. So I'll like maybe insert some pictures, but you look so good. That dress on you?
Yeah. Well, you're a great photographer.
No, you make it easy. I was thinking yesterday, I was like, I've literally known you since I think I was 16 and you were like 14 or something. Yeah. And like
since high school for sure, like beginning, like freshman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm like, that's just crazy. But now you're in your 30s. Like you're a 30-year-old. She's joined the club.
I've joined the club. I'm here. It feels great.
Your knees still feel good?
My knees feel wonderful. I feel energized.
We stayed out last night. We actually didn't even stay out that late. Like we got.
Was it like midnight?
Yeah, I think it was like midnight or like 12:30 or something. but I was like dropping it low and my pants ripped straight down the back, like just, so I had to like, we ended up leaving because I was like, you know, you can't walk around with pants that have a massive rip in the butt. Oh yeah, it was huge.
No
pants are gone. Yeah, they're done. Yeah, so now we're gonna go to this farmer's market. Apparently they have the best croissants because there's a guy, like a little French guy who I guess like sells them. So I'm really excited and I'm very hungry too, so it'll be perfect. We went to the farmer's market. It was super fun. So now we're gonna go out by the little pool area and what are you looking for? We're gonna go just like lay out for a bit. It's so nice that the weather's been like really warm. It's like 72 today and it's just gonna be really nice to soak up the sun, especially because it's our last day here.
We're here for 2. Big exhale. Pull the arms towards me. And again, pull the arms towards me. Find your ribcage and roll down. So now, keep those legs to the tabletop. Go back. So press on. Stay there. Hands go right by your side. Big inhale. And exhale. We're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Don't lay down. Circle those feet long. Just circle your feet right here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now you can lay back down. We flip with here for 10, 9, point your toes, 8, 7, 6, faster, 5, 4, 3, breathe, 2, 1, lay back down. And come along, you're gonna stay here for 10, 9, breathe, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, lay back down. The whole time, pull into that strap, widen those feet, squeeze your turn, your hands still. After 10, we go into our lean forward, okay? So we can face the window on this. You guys are ready? I want one long line here. So I extend my long leg long. I got you guys. Here, stretch. You can also walk down to the wood.
We made it back to Springfield last night, and of course the first place I had to stop was Sephora, and of course I had to go to Pilates. I cannot even explain to you guys how terrible I felt on the trip just because I was like not eating how I normally eat. You guys, I feel like know how like Brady and I have changed our diet over the last like 3 months, and we pretty much will eat only fruits, vegetables, and like meat. So like anything that comes from an animal, really, not just meat, because like we'll have like milk and stuff and that comes from an animal, like eggs. But we don't like have any sugar, we don't have any sauces, we don't have any bread, and every other like weekend we will like add in those things like back into like, you know, what we're eating. And every single time we do that, we like hate how we feel, like every single time. And I keep thinking like, did I just feel like this all the time when I would eat like this? And so many people are like, oh my God, it has to be so hard for you to like keep eating that way, because I mean, we do go places, and on the weekends that we aren't like having those things, it is more like, I should be very intentional about like where I go eat, especially if I'm going to eat with friends. Like, are they going to have options that I'm going to want to eat? But when I don't eat the way that we've been eating over the last few months, I feel terrible, like terrible. I can't even explain it. And we were drinking, so I think that also probably added to how bad we felt, but I just felt so bloated. Like my stomach was like hurting bloated. I would wake up and feel bloated. And I was just thinking like, maybe I just felt like this all the time and didn't realize it, because we weren't really eating anything that's like wild. You know, we were having like, we got like Mexican food. We had, what else did we eat? We ate, like sweets. I don't really have like coffee very often. And so like I had a chai and I had like a caffeine in it. So I guess I didn't like really have like true coffee, but we weren't really eating anything that was like that out of the ordinary of like what we would used to like eat. And I can't tell you how terrible I felt. Like, I'm not even kidding. I went there with like a pair of jeans. They were a pair of Levi's. And I remember at the beginning of the trip, I was like, oh my God, these jeans are so baggy that I like flipped them over because they literally were about to fall off on me. I was like, they're so baggy. I just like wish I had brought a belt, and I was like kind of joking about it. By the end of the trip, I'm not kidding, by the end of the trip, and this is only, we were there from Wednesday through Sunday. By Saturday, I put those jeans on and they almost like fit like completely just because of how bloated I was. And I was like, is this how I felt all the time? I just really encourage you guys, if you guys are in a place where maybe you wake up and you're bloated in the mornings, or you just don't feel good, or you just feel like something's off about your food, start diving deep into that, because that was what made like us make a shift. For me, like the biggest thing was I used to wake up every single morning and I would like feel bloated. My stomach would kind of like hurt. I would get nauseous like randomly. And I was like, this just can't be normal. Like it can't be normal to feel like this all the time. And so that's when I started like eliminating things. And if you Google like elimination diet, there's like a bunch of different things that you could like try. But the way that we started was just doing like only meat and seeing how we felt. And then we added back in other things. And we did notice like cheese, for me, like having cheese wasn't a big deal. But then having cheese for Brady, he would like immediately get like, just like not feeling good. He would like be in the bathroom all the time. But what's funny is, when he would have cheese, he was like that. But when he would drink milk, he wasn't like that. And when he would have ice cream, he wasn't like that. So it's just interesting how sometimes you can think that it's like a whole food group. Like, oh, I need to like completely cut out dairy, or oh, I need to completely cut out this or that. But then when you start cutting out small things and adding back in those small things, you realize like, oh, maybe it's just this one thing. It just like really changed how we view food, and we are so excited to be back like eating normally. So like obviously this week we're home and like we're back to eating how like we, you know, normally eat, and I just feel so much better already. I just feel so much better. We are gonna probably for Valentine's Day, that'll be like the next weekend where we'll eat like sugar and stuff. And the thing is like when the 2 weeks is up, I'm ready to eat sugar, and I'm like, you know what, I don't care how I feel. I don't care if this croissant, like bread, like whatever makes me feel terrible. And then by the end of that weekend, I'm like, oh my God, why? And it's not even because I'm like eating a ton. It's not like I'm like gorging myself on, you know what I mean? Like if you're not having a lot of food that you like normally want, sometimes people might think like, oh, you're probably just overeating. No, it's literally like just me eating how I would normally eat. Like we went on Saturday, we went and got coffee. We went to the farmer's market. I got a chai. We had a croissant in the morning, and then I think in the afternoon, or we had a croissant, but it had like bacon and eggs and cheese on the croissant. And then I had the chai, and then a little bit later I was like, ooh, I want another croissant. So I got a chocolate croissant, and that was like early afternoon. And then we had like Mexican food that night, and then I think I had one drink Saturday night. And then what do we have for lunch? I forget, we had something for lunch. I can't remember. But it wasn't like anything wild. It's just like having those things, I've realized that my body just does not do well with them. And I know some people's, it probably does. But for me, I'm just like, dang, like, I felt terrible. I felt so bad. So anyway, that's my long spiel about foods, which I feel like every single vlog I talk somewhat about like what I'm eating or like food or whatever. And one of you guys actually asked if I could like add in recipes, but like I just don't really want to do that. I just don't feel like it. But I am going to go pick up a roast from the Apple Barn. So I'll bring you guys with me for that. Obviously, I do have a little Sephora haul that I want to show you guys. And I ended up picking up the Way body cream. This is Melrose Place. I usually get like a different fragrance, but they only have this one there, and I think they had like one other one, and it's one I don't normally get, but this one still smells really good. It's very like rose, like girly, like fruity kind of thing. And then I also picked up this Brazilian Bum Bum Cream, and I do not think that this is overhyped at all. I actually think that this needs more hype, and people talk about this all the time, and I would hear like people be like, oh my god, it's so good, you have to try it. And I just was like, whatever, it seems overhyped. No, this stuff is really good. So I got both of those because I'm actually out of lotion, and I actually went in there to pick up Summer Fridays body lotion, and I was not able to find it because it's sold out for the 100th time. For my books, I didn't read like anything on this trip. I'm so serious. I still have Losing Control that I'm finishing. I thought I would be done with it like by the last vlog, and I did not end up finishing it, which I'm very surprised by. So we're just gonna like go into February with this. But one thing I told myself this year was that I didn't want to like not read long, thick books because of like the need to finish them. Does that make sense? Like if you're reading something, I think sometimes in my head, I'm like, I need to finish this quick. Like I need to finish it so I can like read to the next, like get on to the next thing. And sometimes I am the type where if I've been reading a book too long, I get over it, even if I like it. So I think that that is part of it, where I like want to finish a book quick so that I don't like get the ick by reading the book. I don't know if anyone else is like that, but like sometimes I'll just literally be reading, I'm like, I don't want to read this anymore, and I like it. Like, so I think that's part of the reason why I feel like I need to finish it fast. But also I think that sharing videos here, there's like a, I don't know, a lot of creators who will like share bookish videos, they'll like read a book in one video and they'll like finish the book in the video. And so like there's almost this thought in my head where I'm like, if I'm sharing bookish videos, I should probably like read the book that I'm talking about and finish it in that video. And I'm trying to like get away from that, because reading is reading is reading. It doesn't matter whether I'm reading 1 book a month, 200 books a month. I mean, that would be crazy, but it doesn't really matter. Like as long as I'm enjoying it and talking about it and experiencing it in the way that I think I enjoy, then that's what matters. So that's what I was saying in the last vlog. I have started sharing like multiple books that I've been reading at once, which I didn't used to do that, because I'm like, wow, like a lot of like creators don't usually read a bunch of books at one time. They'll like read one book and then finish it. And it's like you get a concise thought, and I just am like, I don't read like that. So like, why am I trying to share videos that it almost seems like I'm reading that way, and I was, but it's like that's not what I enjoy most. So anyway, I'm reading 3 books, and I'm reading Losing Control by Lady Nisha still. I'm almost finished with this one. I don't really have very much left, but because I'm reading these other books, that has kind of just like been put on the back burner. Also, I struggle with reading books with spice on planes, and that's when I actually planned to read this book. I was gonna like pick it up on a plane, and I did not do that at all, just because it's very hard to read on a plane when you have someone over your shoulder just like looking at the words that are on your page, and it's like, yeah, F me so good, yeah, daddy, yeah, you know, like there's literally a part where they have like, they're using like butt plugs, and I was like, whoa, let me like not read this in the airport or read this on a plane when I literally have like a random person next to me. So yeah, really enjoying that one, as I shared in the last video. But I did end up starting 2 other books. I started Post Traumatic, and I'm not super far into it. It's by Chantal V. Johnson. This is by Black author. I've been wanting to read more contemporary fiction by Black authors, but I have had the hardest time finding those books, and so I'm so thankful for you guys to like that you've been recommending them to me. It's made it a lot easier for me to pick up books. I feel like with contemporary fiction, I have a hard time fully enjoying the book because I don't know where we're going with it. And I think with like romance books, like I know it's going to end in a happily ever after. Like I just know it. Like it always does. I just know that. And I think with contemporary fiction, I'm like, okay, what's the point? Which the point is to enjoy the book. The point is to like connect with the characters. The point is like just to read the words on the page. Like I don't have to know exactly where it's going. So I've kind of had to break myself out of that, because as a romance girly, you kind of know where it's going. Like you know what's happening. Also, can anyone else attest to being the type who will literally use anything for a bookmark? This is the top of a like bag of peanuts. I had peanuts on the airplane. Like I bought them in the airport. and I had them on the airplane. This is the top of a bag of peanuts, and I'm using it as a bookmark, which is so funny because I have a million bookmarks at home, and anytime I go to get a bookmark for my book, I'm like, they are nowhere to be found. Like, every time I go to the bookstore, I will pick up bookmarks off the table, nowhere to be found when I need them in my book. And I don't know if anyone else is like that. I feel like bookmarks are like socks. They just like disappear on their own somehow. Like, where did they go? Is someone stealing my bookmarks? Are they just like talking to each other and like secretly hiding somewhere? I don't know. But I never can find one whenever I need it. Speaking of bookstores, I definitely want to go to the bookstore tomorrow. I was looking at books in the airport, and I almost like pulled out my camera, but I was like, I'll just wait till we go to the bookstore. But I saw Deepen by Ali Hazelwood there, and I am the type of person who falls into the hype all the time. Like, I bought her newest book, and I ended up giving it to a free library. Like, I have the Love, Love Theoretically. I have it on my shelf because so many people have said it's incredible. Have not read it yet, but I did read Love on the Brain and Love Hypothesis. And I think I just need to like own it that every book is not going to be for me. Like, some people are going to be obsessed with an author and they're going to be obsessed with a book, and I'm just going to be like, 3.5 stars, 3 stars. It's fine. Like, it's fine. It's not great. It's fine. Like, I read the Love Hypothesis, rated 3.5 out of 5 stars. It's cute. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. And then I read Love of the Brain, which I actually didn't really like that one. I rated that one 2 stars, but I think it's just because it seemed like it was literally the exact same story, like, that I had already read from Love Hypothesis. I almost read them back to back. And I know so many people love her writing, and I do think her writing is fun. But I think in the stage of life that I'm at right now, it's very rare that I go into a story just wanting a story for just like giggles. You know, I want something that's gonna like pull on my heartstrings, it doesn't even have to be like a story with like a ton of trauma or anything. Like, it just has to be something where I feel like I'm going to get some depth or something that's going to pull something out within me. Because I do think, like, Love Hypothesis, there were like themes in there that I think are important, like women in STEM and a woman who's trying to work in a field that's like very male dominated, and that can be hard, and like trying to get a promotion, like all those things. I do think those things are important, but I feel like it like scratched the surface, you know. It needed to dig a little bit deeper, but again, it's just like a fun book. But I think that those are the types of books that I am not really like as excited to pick up anymore. Those were the types of books that like 2022 year old Shaughnessy, or not year old, 2022 year Shaughnessy would have wanted to pick up and would have been obsessed with. And so I've just kind of been like telling myself, stop leaning into the hype, stop buying books just because the covers are pretty, stop buying books because everybody else is saying that they're good, because just because they like them doesn't mean you will like them. So I think I'm gonna leave that one there, but I did see it in the bookstore. And I was telling Brady, I was like, oh my God, I saw this book in the bookstore in the airport, and it was out 2 days early. Like, someone would have been just like absolutely so excited to get that book 2 days early. But there are a ton of books that come out tomorrow, because tomorrow is the first Tuesday of February. And I'm really excited. Another thing, speaking of February, I feel like this is the year I have probably gotten more frustrated. I don't know if frustrated is the word, because I don't know if that's the right word. I've been more aware. I'll say aware. I've been more aware of people sharing like books by Black authors and sharing like recommendations for Black History Month from people who do not read books by Black authors. And I think that for me has felt super like performative in a way, because I don't know, I feel like it's 2025. Like, we're past the age of like, oh, I'm just gonna like do this thing and like read this thing, or like, you know, whatever, because of like this month, you know, like, no, the point of Black History Month is like, yes, we are celebrating Blackness, but like, we should also do that all year round. Same like when June comes around. Like, I'm constantly reading queer reads throughout the year. Like, I think it is important to learn stories from people who have totally different life experiences than you. And I am not someone who's like, here's a bunch of stories in June that you need to read. And like, I'm not doing that throughout the year. And I feel the same about like Black History Month. It's like, I don't want to see a post, a video, a text, a nothing. I don't want to see anything from you if I don't see that same energy 365 days of the year. Like, I don't want your 3 book recs by Black authors when they're the only 3 books that you've read all of like 2024, you know? Like I think this year, especially because I have like really honed in on being very intentional about finding not only books by Black authors, but other diverse reads as well by people who have like differently able bodies or different like relationships and different like just life experiences. And I've been very intentional about that. And it's very obvious when you're intentional about something and you see people who are not intentional about that thing. And it like, it's just giving, like, I don't even know. It's giving no. It's giving please stop. So anyway, it's obviously the beginning of February, and that is just something that's like been just like forefront of my mind. I'm like, I need to like mute everybody on everything. I need to like not. And I don't know, I've gotten a lot of people who've like reached out and asked for me to like share book recs because they like want to make a post about books by Black authors. They're like, oh, can I like reshare this thing? And I'm like, don't do it right now. Like, actually don't. Like, and I'm not saying that you can't share those things, but like, if you have not shared your favorite books by Black authors anytime throughout the year, don't do it today. Don't do it this month. Do it this month if you're someone who's already done that, or maybe you've already been reading multiple books by Black authors, and like, perfect, that's great, I love that for you. But if you're not, leave that to the people who already do that thing, and like, maybe reshare their stuff, or just say like, hey, this is a great person to like, you know, keep up with or follow, or like, whatever. I don't know. I have such a hard time even like explaining my thoughts and feelings around like Black History Month, because I love this month and I love that it celebrates a part of me that is like just so all-encompassing. But it feels very weird when it seems that like businesses or just like people are like almost exploiting that because it's like gonna make them more money or get them more views or whatever. Like Target, you got all the clothes for Black History Month. You got all the shirts, all the whatever, and like that's great and everything, but like, can you just like also have that not in February? Like, have it all throughout the year. Like, and I know that they do have like businesses that are like Black owned in their store. Like, I'm not saying that they don't, but it just grinds my gears in a way that is like hard to explain. So another book that I also picked up is Beartown by Friedrich Backman. This is a book that I have heard everyone and their mother talking about, and I did not know how to feel about it because there's not a lot of dialogue in it. It felt a little dense. I just was like, it's not going to give me what it needs to give, but I do want to read it because everyone's talked about it. I read about 60 pages and I was like, I don't like it. I don't like the way that it's written. I just don't like it. And then I'm at 90 pages now, loving it. Like, and that's the reason why I can't say like everyone can't DNF books, but like, just sometimes you don't need a DNF book. Sometimes you need to like write it out, because the last 2 books, The Comeback by Ella Berman and this book, were 2 books that I literally was like reading at the beginning. I was like, I don't like this. Like, not even just like, oh, it's okay. Like, I don't like it. Like, if I was someone who DNF books, I would have DNF'd that book and this book. And this book right here, like, everyone's like, oh, it's 5 stars. I did not see why, like, at all. And then now I'm at 90 pages in. I'm like, okay, I can see why it could potentially be like a very like highly rated story. And I also can see why it is turned into a TV show. I think the story itself is something I'm enjoying more than the actual writing. But it is something that I definitely think that I'm going to love. I could also see myself getting book 2, and that is very surprising to me, considering the first few pages I was like, this is boring. But yeah, these are the books that I'm reading right now. 2 books by Black authors, and then a very popular book. I try to mix it up. You guys know that I do, but I didn't really get to read very much in Arizona, because we literally we would wake up every morning and go and do something until like the end of the night. And I'm someone who normally goes to bed like 9:30, and we were going to bed at like 11, 12, 12:30. Like, it was just so different than what I normally am doing like in my regular schedule. But it was like my friend's 30th birthday We've been friends for like years. She is absolutely stunning, as you guys probably saw in the video. Her dad is Black and her mom is Filipino. And so it's so cool seeing the blend of her culture. Just like when she'll talk about like different things, like different foods or like different, experiences, like life experiences or whatever. It's so cool. And I don't know, I just love like being able to learn from like friends or just like people that I know. And it's just like, it's really neat. So anyway, yeah, I am gonna keep reading these. I think I'm gonna go to a coffee shop. I do need to go and get this roast because I want to start the roast, so we have like a good dinner or whatever. But oh my gosh, I'm still so tired. Do you ever go on a vacation and you're like, I need a vacation from the vacation? Like, I came back and was more tired than I was before I left because we did so much. But it was the best trip, like so fun. So much swimming. We got on UTVs. Like, it was just so fun. We hiked a freaking mountain. It was a great trip and a great experience. And I definitely want to go on more trips with him more often. I have a little book haul, so I'm gonna open everything that I got. I actually have another package of books coming. It's on the way and it'll actually be here, I think today or tomorrow, but I definitely want to show it to you guys because it's definitely Valentine's Day-esque. And it would be perfect if you're wanting to do like a little book shopping for Valentine's Day, but I will wait until it gets here. So I'll open this one first. I don't even remember what this one is. I always have people send like ARCs or like books that they want to send to my husband's office. I don't have a P.O. box, but so many of you guys have been asking like if I have one. So yeah, I definitely want to get one maybe soon. Oh my goodness. Okay, so this says fall in love one page at a time with S&P romance. And then on the back it has a bunch of books that are being released. And these are books that I'm really excited to read, like Whenever You're Ready by Rachel Maria Katz. You can see all of the books there. This looks like it's actually gonna be a book that I already own. Oh my goodness. Yes, it is. And it is Legend in the Baking. I read this book and absolutely loved it. Like I rated it 4 stars and they sent this little like cooking, what is it? Like a, you know the thing. What's the name of this? I don't even know what the name, I was gonna say whisk, but I know that that's not right. This is a Legend in the Baking by Jamie Wesley on the front. And it says, we're delighted to share the final copy of Jamie Wesley's Legend in the Baking. After accidentally going viral on social media, a cupcake baker football player gets assistance from a social media maven and his best friend's little sister to help promote his new bakery. Delicious tension, first love, and impromptu makeout sessions come together in this perfect recipe for romance. And I read this as an ARC, but I didn't have like the final copy. I will say I already bought it in the store because I'm very big on, if I get an ARC and I love the ARC, I will literally go out to the bookstore and buy the book because yes, I did get it as like a free thing and like I'm sharing it with you guys, which is incredible, but I also feel like nothing is better than dollars. You know, it's like, yeah, it's great that you like promote it and like all the things and like, you know, you guys are probably gonna buy the book based on like maybe my recommendations or someone else's recommendations, but I feel like I need to put my dollars into the pockets of that author, especially if I'm obsessed with the book. So I did already buy the book, and I think I put it into a free little library, but I do have the ARC version on my shelf, and so I'll probably end up passing this one to a free library as well. I've been really big on filling up my free library because just literacy, I feel like, is so important, and there are so many communities that don't have access to books, especially books by Black authors, so I always make it a point to fill it up when I can. This is a thick, like, little package, so we'll see what's in this one. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited! The Idol Effect by MC Sakala. I've been wanting to read this for the longest time. It was just released not that long ago. The cover is so cute. I'm obsessed with it. It says, Katya Satali, you know the name, daughter of the biggest record producer in the world, yet she can't stand the music industry. For her, she's always looked up. Her channel, Constellations with Kat, is an escape into the stars alongside her dreams of studying astronomy. Summers at the beach house on Kekum Island were always just a family affair until the day that the enigmatic and captivating Park twins arrived and changed everything. Sailor Park is South Korean's golden boy, known for his flawless image and mesmerizing voice, but he's been on hiatus since a tragic scandal. Idol life has left him jaded and weary, though he keeps his struggles hidden behind a practiced smile. A master in the art of performing, but from the moment he meets Katya, her unfiltered authenticity shatters the mask of the facade he's built. Katya and Sailor have to spend the entirety of the holiday together, but everyone knows that things get uglier up close. Sailor has a secret, and Katya isn't telling the whole truth. Oh my gosh, the matter of the fact is that things haven't been the same since that summer. What happened? They aren't the same people they used to be, but we're getting ahead of ourselves here. We have to go back to where it began, somewhere off the coast where two worlds collided. I've never read anything by this author, but I've definitely wanted to. This book is a thick one. It's 546 pages, but it looks like a really easy read. Like the words are really spaced out. It looks like there's tons of dialogue, which I love. So I definitely am going to pick up this book really soon. I feel like for me, I don't get as nervous reading thick books when there's lots of dialogue. Like if you've read Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh, that book is like 600 pages, but it goes by so fast. And I feel like it goes by so fast because there is tons of dialogue. Like one person will say something and then another, and it's like the whole, you know, conversation is just detailed in like 4 or 5 pages, and then it just continues to go on and on and on. And like, I don't know, I feel like I get to know characters so much better that way. So yeah, this looks like it has tons of dialogue. It's also a really floppy book, which I feel like is perfect when you're reading a very thick book. So super excited to read this one. This one was sent to me as a gift from the author, which I typically don't take a lot of like arcs or like gifting of books, just because I'm extremely like conscious of like how my reviews play a part in a release of a book. And a lot of the time I just want to make sure that if I'm giving a review, it's like one that's going to be something that helps along the sale of the book. And I just get so worried that if I don't like the book, so you guys know I will always be honest, like no matter what, if I don't like the book, I get worried that it could like just have a negative effect on the sale of the book. But whenever I do take an arc, or I do take a book that is like a romance or whatever, I always really look into like what are the elements in the book that I think I'll enjoy. Like for this one, yes, it's thick, but there's tons of dialogue. The storyline is really unique, which I felt like would be fun to read. And again, I just don't usually take arcs or just like books from authors unless I've read books from that author before. So this is definitely new to me because I've never read anything of hers, but I will say that I'm really excited because there's tons of dialogue in this. Like literally just every page is like them just going back and forth and back and forth and talking and talking and talking and talking. So that is what I look forward to most in a book. So these are the 2 books that I got, but I do have a haul coming soon. And I also want to go to the bookstore, I think tomorrow. Reading so many books lately with characters that are genuinely so unlikable, and I didn't really think that I would hate this character going into this because I knew that she has like been through some stuff, but I kind of just like don't like her. And I think that that's the point. Like she's supposed to be an unlikable character. I'm almost done with the book. I'm at like 216 out of 309. So very close to being finished. But I know the point is to like not like her. Like I know that that is literally the point of this book. And she is unlikable because she's been through so many different things. But man, I am just like, come on, Vivian. Like, do you have any kind bones in your body? Like she's just very unlikable. But it's making me realize, similar to when I read The Comeback by Ella Berman, that when people go through things, we cannot like wrap up people's trauma in like a nice little bow and make it like palatable. And this book is like a perfect representation of that, because she's been through so much. And it's also like begs the question, like, how much abuse is enough abuse to like let go of your family like connection? Because it just seems like the author is really digging deep into how like detrimental it can be to like keep your family around, especially if you have like went through abuse at their hand. But also some of the things that the people in the family are doing, it's like things that we almost normalize. Like one thing, not everything, but like for like the holidays, the mom was like, when are you gonna come home? But like her mom on the phone is just like yelling at her, and like not like yelling in like a you're a terrible person kind of way, but more of like a I'm stressed out, so like I'm letting it out with you on the phone kind of at you. And she's like talking about how her brother is like, you know, has issues and like all these things. So then at the end of this conversation, it's like a very stressful conversation, she goes, when are you going to come home? And she's like, oh, I don't know. Like, I feel like every time I come home, there's like yelling and like there's anger, and like I just don't want to have to like kind of deal with that. And she's like, oh, are you serious? Like almost acting like she's dramatic. And I feel like so often we can invalidate our own feelings based on like how other people feel about like our choices. And yeah, this is just, it's an interesting book. Again, I will say she's very, 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 very unlikable, but she's also been through some very traumatic things. And she talks about that in this book. So I don't know, it just is a perfect example of like, we cannot wrap up people's experiences into a nice little bow and expect people to just be like quote unquote normal if you've like been through all of these things. And I think so often we do that. Like we want people to just like hide their issues, and like I don't know, it's just it's an interesting book. She's very unlikable. She's someone who I don't think any of us would want to be friends with. She's very like know-it-all, like I am like all-knowing, but also like I'm perfect. But then I kind of see like some of the things that she'll say like in her inner monologue, like I am like, oh, like, does everyone think like that? Because some of the things that she says are just like human ways of thinking. Like, for example, she's in this argument with, not an argument, but kind of like in a discussion with like a group of people. And while she's in this discussion, she kind of makes this note in her mind where she's like, everyone is wanting to get the last word, and we all want to get like the last word and make it good. Like we're having this like little disagreement, but all of us is wanting to find that one thing that all of us can latch onto and be like, ooh, yes, like so insightful, like so brilliant, so smart. And she's like trying to like think of what that thing could be and say it before everyone else in the group says it. And then she ends up saying something that actually makes everyone just like quiet and be like, ooh, like that's a little awkward. Like you're kind of like changing the tone of this party. And I don't know, I think that the author is definitely highlighting what it means to be human too, in a way, even though she is very unlikable. I feel like there's so much of ourselves that is not always likable, and maybe we hide those parts of ourselves better than the likable parts. So I don't know, this is good. It's good. I don't know who I would recommend this book to, because it kind of feels like there's like no plot. Like I don't really know where this is going. And sometimes I have a hard time, especially like how I used to be an English literature major. I have a hard time with just reading a book for enjoyment. I almost feel like I need to read the book to figure out what the author's trying to tell me. You know what I mean? Like, and if I can't figure that out, I'm like, what's the point of the book? Because I can't figure out like the themes and like why, like the deeper meaning. And it's like, if I'm enjoying the book, like that's enough. And I do think like I am figuring out the themes as they go, but I feel like when I first started this book, I was like, what is going on? Like, why is she like this? Like, what's the point of this book? There's really no plot. We're just kind of following her around. But she is kind of enjoyable because she is unpredictable. Like at one point in this book, she jumps out of a moving car, like she jumps out of the window of a moving car, and my mouth was literally on the floor. I was like, woman, but also like her career is helping people, and she needs help herself. And I was telling, I can't remember who it was, maybe it was like Nakia and Tyler and Brady when we were like on this trip. I think that's who I was telling. I was saying that when I used to work in healthcare, we would always make this like kind of joke, but not like really a joke. It's like a real thing where we would say that no one would work in this field unless they've been through trauma of their own. Because like no one is wanting to like get punched or kicked or spit on or whatever unless they have some kind of deep trauma, and maybe they've worked through that trauma, but like no one is wanting to just choose a job like that unless they've been through some type of trauma. And it was kind of like this, like, not real joke, but like kind of a running joke where it's like we all know we have like baggage, and like we are in this career because we want to help people. And then I think it was Tyler, maybe it was Nakia, they were like, well, yeah, like that makes sense because the people who've been through like hardships and like trauma and stuff, they want to help people who are working through those things. And that's kind of what she's doing in this book. She's trying to help people who have went through things and don't really have a way out or don't have help. And I feel like that's what she wished that she had when like her life was, you know, she was going through those hard things. So it's just a really interesting book. I'm like really excited that I'm able to actually read outside, because I haven't read outside in a really long time. It's like 60, almost 70 degrees Fahrenheit. I think it's like 67, and it's the end of the day. It's after 5 o'clock, and not only is it after 5 o'clock, it is still sunny. Like look at the time. Like look at that. It's 5:23, and you guys can see the sun is just now setting, which means we are on the up and up. Like it is going to be summer. It is going to be spring before we know it, and I can't freaking wait. So I'm going to sit here, probably read some more, probably finish this up. Is definitely a book that is interesting, and I'm glad that someone recommended this one to me, because I've been looking for more contemporary fiction by Black authors, but it's definitely one of those books where I feel like I'm going to end it and like have no idea how to rate it. Like right now I'm just like, Vivian, I can't stand you, but I also understand you, and I think that's the point. Like sometimes people are just like that, and it's like you went through some stuff and like no one understands that you have, and you're kind of trying to hide all these things. Like she seems somewhat normal from the outside, but she has like all these things that she's like not working through. So yeah, I'm enjoying this so far. It's definitely an interesting read. I don't hear enough people talking about Black Buck. This is a book that I read, I think, last year. I wasn't even really into like contemporary fiction then, but I found it so funny. It's about this guy who works at like this all white like job. I don't know what his job was exactly. It was something in like numbers, like a desk job, and he works there, and he kind of tries to like overthrow it in a way by hiring a bunch of Black people who were very qualified for the job but like wouldn't have gotten the job just because the people at that like place of employment were just absolutely wild. And it's really good. The ending is kind of wild, and you definitely have to suspend reality for a bit, but I feel like it's one of those books that you'll find yourself actually laughing out loud, especially if you're someone who's worked in the corporate world, because it gives those vibes for sure. I'm trying to find a specific book and I cannot find it, and sometimes I just get too excited to find a book, and then like my brain is just like so jumbled that I can't even think like what's the author's name, like where should I even be looking for. I just get so excited to find it, and this is a new release, so I'm hoping that it's here. So many books in this basket, like literally I have I think 6 or 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm about to get a 7th. Like this basket is so full, but I'm looking to find Christina Forrest's new book, and whenever I'm looking in the spot where it should be, it's not here. You can see the neighbor favors here, and then I was looking around the corner, which is where the partner plot is. It's over here, and I cannot find the new book, so I'm gonna have to ask someone. I checked online and it did say that it is here. Oh, this is the book that I was telling you guys I saw in the airport, and I was like, ooh, I kind of want to get more just because I know her writing is like really popular and I love the cover. But I'm gonna wait to see what other people think about this, because I heard that this one was super spicy, and you guys know I'm not for like all spice no plot, and I feel like her writing is kind of like that. So I'm gonna wait and see what everyone else thinks about it first. This book was initially released in the contemporary fiction section, and now it's being released with a new cover and in paperback in the romance section. I feel like this is where this book belongs. I read this book, wasn't like absolutely obsessed with it, but it still was like a cute read. I think I rated it like 3.5 out of 5 stars, but I love this cover so much better than the other one. I've been reading this book between last night and today, and I'm pretty close to being done with it. It is a cute read. I just feel like maybe I wasn't in the mood for a cutesy read, but I got it from the library, so it's like I want to read it. I will say that getting books from the library has made me pick up so many books that probably would sit on my shelf for literally forever. I've also been in a big reading mood, and I think it's because when I was in Arizona, I didn't read as much as I would have wanted to read because we were like very busy. So now that I'm back, I'm just like, I have my nose in a book at all seconds of the day, other than like when I'm working, and it has been really nice. So right now it is like almost time for dinner, and I'm waiting for Brady to get home, so whenever he gets home I'll probably put my book down, but I think I'll be able to finish it by the time that he gets home, so I'll definitely give you guys my thoughts maybe a little bit later. I've also finished some of the other books, so I want to give you guys like a quick little book review wrap up situation, maybe like whenever we get into bed. Also, I did get a huge haul whenever I was at Barnes & Noble. I just don't feel like pulling out all the books tonight, so I'll probably show you guys tomorrow, but I did get so many books. I think I ended up getting like 6 books or something like that, so you guys will have lots of books to look at whenever I give you guys the haul tomorrow. Came outside to read Whiskey River, and I swear every time I pull out my camera it starts to get very loud, but I came out to I came outside with my book to read it because this is just giving me summer vibes. It is a country like western romance, but it's like a town that's like black only, and I'm eating it up. It is so cute. It also has fake dating in it. There's this guy named Sacred, and then there's a girl named Oakland, and both of them like definitely are interested in each other, but they're kind of trying to like keep those feelings at bay for whatever reason. And I feel like, ooh, not people like getting into a car like argument. It's so funny like seeing that in this town, because this town's like so small. It's like if you yell at someone when they like cut you off or whatever, like you might see them at like a event or something around town. But anyway, so they're kind of trying to like keep their feelings at bay. I think it's because the main character, Oakland, her best friend is the cousin of Sacred. So her best friend is Blake and his cousin is the guy. So I feel like she kind of just wants to like, you know, not be interested because of that. But it is really, really cute. And I think initially when I went into this, I thought it was going to be super spicy, but I'm about 45 pages in and it hasn't given those vibes at all. It's definitely giving like cutesy vibes, like small town, like they've already went to like a rodeo, and they've also, they're having this like cookout where they're playing dominoes and they're like smoking stuff, you know, to eat, and it just is definitely giving summer, and I feel like this is the perfect book to read in the summer. I also had to take a break from Beartown. I'm almost done with it, but it was getting so hard to get through because it's making me think about how often things happen to people that just like it shouldn't happen, and like nothing changes because of it. I don't know. I'll tell you more of my thoughts a little bit later. It's time to give you guys my thoughts on Beartown. I haven't finished it yet, but I am pretty far into it. This is a very, 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 very tough read, which I think is why I needed to mix it with like a cutesier read. Like you guys saw last night, I was reading like a fluffy rom-com, and then today I started like this small town cowboy romance. This has been hard to get through, partially because I don't really like the writing style, but also because the story itself is a very powerful, very like needed story, but very, very hard. It's interesting that I actually read this story after going like on the trip with our besties, because we actually had a really good conversation. Like, you know, when you're with friends and like friends you've been friends with for a really long time, you just like have these deep conversations, especially at like night and stuff. And we just started talking about so many things. And like while the boys were getting coffee, they were like going to pick it up and bring it back for us. I was talking to Nakea, and we were saying how like important it is to have people that you can lean on, people that you can talk to, and how it can be very easy, especially in families, to like sweep things under the rug and like not talk about things that either you struggle with or people you know struggle with. And I don't know, this book is actually reminding me a lot of 13 Reasons Why, which is interesting because that book is actually a banned book and this one is not. And I kind of think that maybe it's because 13 Reasons Why is set in a high school, and this is set in a high school, but it's for like adult audience or an adult audience. But it gives me very similar vibes where there's like a lot going on. There's like racism within the school. There's jokes that shouldn't be jokes. And we all know that even in like outside of high school, like in a work setting, like there'll be people who will say things where you're like, that is not appropriate to say. And so often you see the characters in this where they're like having this push and pull, being like, should I say something? Should I not say something? And this actually, there's a scene in this where it made me think about when I was younger. And I remember there was this girl that, honestly, the friends that I had in middle school, they were not like good people. Like, I think I've told this before, but like one of my friends in middle school, she was like, yeah, I will not donate to Goodwill because like if they're so poor that they can't like buy good clothes on their own, like they don't deserve these clothes. She didn't even buy those clothes herself, like her parents did, but it's like that's the mindset that she had. And I just think about how grateful I am that I like strayed away from those friends and I just completely changed as a person. Because I mean, in middle school, you're really just like creating friendships based on proximity. So it's not even like you're going out of your way to like find someone new. And these are just people who were in proximity to me. Like they went to the school, like in my district. And even though it was homeschool, like there were a lot of activities where we would kind of like overlap. And I just remember like thinking like, like that's not really like a great thing to say. And then like later on, I remember there was this girl and they would always kind of like make fun of this girl, not to her face, but every time she would walk away, they would like make little jokes. Like, you know, in Mean Girls, the show where like Regina's like, oh my god, I love your bracelet, it's so cute, and the second she walks away she's like, that's the ugliest bracelet I've ever seen in my life. Like, it was kind of like that. And I remember thinking, like, I don't want to be on the other side of these comments. Like, I don't want to be the person that they're making fun of when I walk away, which I'm sure that I was at many times, because they were just like that. Like, I remember, I think I've said this before, but like one time I was on a call with one of my friends, and she was asking about another friend and was like, do you like her? Like, what do you think about her? And I was like, oh, I think she's fine. Come to find out later that I was on three-way, and she had the other friend on the call, and they were like fishing to see if they could like get me like to say something or like slip up or whatever. And at the time I was very like quiet, very reserved, very, I'll be whoever you need me to be, because I had no like sense of self. And I'm seeing so much of that in this book, and it is just taking me back, but also making me realize how much growth I've had as a person, how far I've come. And I think some of that comes with like growth in age and realizing like who you actually want to be. But also I think a lot of it comes with like inner work. Like, you can't change from like a crappy person or a person who just like doesn't care about people to instantly being like this person who has a open bleeding heart for everyone if you don't work on yourself. And there's just like so many scenes where the hockey players in this are like making jokes that are not appropriate. They're saying things that are just like, you do not need to say, and people are either laughing with them or they're thinking in their heads like, I shouldn't laugh with them, but I'm going to because I don't want to be the next butt of the joke. And I don't know, whenever I was talking to Keo, we were saying how important it is to be able to like let people around you feel comfortable to open up to you, especially like when you're in a family setting and like, you know, you have like siblings or parents or whatever. It's like you want to have open dialogue. And she was just saying, whenever I like become a mom one day, I really hope that I can have that open dialogue with my kids. And we were just kind of reflecting on like our parents and our families and like our siblings and all the things, like every dynamic within our life that has either made us feel comfortable to open up or not. And I feel like a lot of this, I wouldn't say it comes back to that, because obviously there is so much that happens in this book, but there's like one specific tragedy that the book is like surrounding, and the character feels open to talk to their parents, but you see that the system that like we live in does not care about this person. Like, it is not there to protect the person. And I don't know, it is a very, very, very hard book to read. It's very powerful. It's very deep. It'll make you definitely very emotional. One thing, again, I will say, it is a very, like, I don't really like the writing of this book. So I feel like I'm probably not going to rate this the way that a lot of people do. Like, so many people have rated this 5 stars. For me, I actually am having a very tough time getting through it. Not just because of like the context, but because the writing style I don't really enjoy. I think there's a lot of great quotes, but a lot of it is like inner thoughts, and you jump from person to person to person so often where I'm like, wait, whose POV are we in again? Like, there's a lot of different POVs. There's tons. Like, there are multiple children's POVs. There are multiple adults POVs. There's probably like, maybe like 15 POVs. Like, there's a lot of POVs. So that is one thing that's like really not confusing, but it'll be in the same chapter. Versus I feel like I'm used to having like one chapter of one person and really diving into their thoughts. But I think I know what the author's doing. They're trying to give you like perspective. So like, you'll get perspective of one character, and then within the next few paragraphs, you'll get perspective of another, which overlaps with the other person. So you can almost have empathy in a way for this other person when 2 seconds ago you kind of hated them. But I also think that all the characters are kind of unlikable. But I think that's the point. I think that you're supposed to hate them, but also empathize with all of them in a way, because like they all are a part of us in some way, because we are the ones who create the system that allows for a lot of these things in this book to happen. And I don't know, it's a really, really good book. I am feeling right now, like as of right this second, and I'm pretty far into it, I'm feeling 3.5. I feel like if I was just doing writing style alone, it would be like 3. But if I was doing story alone, like it would be 4.5. Does that make sense? Like the writing style for me isn't my favorite. I do think that this being an HBO show will be incredible. As I've been reading, I've actually been listening to a playlist while I like read to make it even more cinematic. And that has been a really good way to read and immerse myself in the story. But Yeah, it definitely is one of those where it's not even like taking me a long time to read, because I feel like I'm reading through it pretty fast, but it's one of those where I'm just like, I need more dialogue. Like, I need more dialogue, and I need a little less POVs. Like, I'm getting, like, my brain is like working overdrive. And I was telling my husband last night, oh my gosh, I hate whenever I hear sirens. It just like, you just never know what's happening. I always like want to say a quick prayer. I just hope everyone's safe. Like, you never know. And I think I've mentioned before, like, you know, there have been times where my family's had to call like paramedics and things. And like, my dad had a lot of health issues, and like, you just never know what's happening, and it can totally change someone's day. And that call for us, like, we hear it often, you know, as you're driving or whatever, you're just like, oh, it's like another fire truck or whatever. But that call could be something that completely changes someone's life for the worse. And it just, like, today could be the start of like a whole new era of their life based on that one call. So anyway, I always think about that whenever those go by. But yeah, so anyway, very tough read. It is a good read, but I do think I'm going to go into the library for a little bit, not too long, because I want to go to Pilates pretty soon, but I want to see what they have. I don't have my books with me because I'm still reading them. I do have Second Tide's The Charm. I think that I'm going to pick this book up next. This is another cutesy little library read, and I feel like I need that in between books. So once I get done with Whiskey River, which I feel like I'll finish pretty fast because I'm already like 60 pages into it, I think once I finish that, I'll pick up this one because I need something that's gonna like break up the difficult. It's gonna break up that book and make it a little bit easier to read. I'm gonna say that. So, yeah, I just need a quick break. So yeah, anyway, we're gonna go to the library, see what they have. Hopefully they have some good stuff. I feel like I've been really getting into the like very niche type of books, like this book right here. It's called, I can't even read it, Scaffolding by Lauren Elkin, and it says that it's in 2019 in Paris, and it follows a woman who has a miscarriage and a breakdown after that, and she finds herself unable to return to work. She's a psychoanalyst, and instead she obsesses over a kitchen renovation and befriends a new neighbor, a younger woman called Clementine, who's just moved into the building and is part of a radical feminist collective. And then it continues down through, I think, a bunch of people who like live in this home, maybe. It says that scaffolding is about the way our homes collect and hold our memories and our stories, about the bonds we create and the difficulty of ever fully severing them, about the ways all the people we've loved live on in us. And this just looks really good because I think it tells that story of the same apartment but in 1972, and there's like a whole different cast of characters. This just looks really good. It kind of, like, the cover reminds me of the book My Husband. I haven't read that book, but I've heard a lot of good things about it. Guys, why did I do this to myself? You guys know the book I just picked up. Look at this. My library is just too good. Look at this. They have this book in here. I didn't even know it. Came out in September 2024. It's in here. I didn't even like check to see if it was here. I am so bad about that. Like, I always say I'm gonna get better about it, but at least I feel good because I've heard great things about this book, and I've also heard that this book is like a really great book by a Black author. You guys probably don't know, but I did buy this book at the bookstore, and I just haven't shown you guys my haul yet, but I did buy it, and yeah, I could have easily picked up from here, but I do feel good like supporting a Black author. They also have this book, The Friend Zone Experiment, and this could be a cutesy read that I pick up because I need something that's like easy to read. But again, I'm not in here to buy, or not in here to buy, I'm not in here to rent books because I already have some at home. I just want to see what they have. I feel like they always are updating the books that they have. If you don't go to the library, please go check out your local library. I swear there are so many great books in there, and if you don't have like a lot of great options, you can always ask a librarian to bring in a book for you. I wasn't really thinking about reading this book, but if I were to read it, I feel like this is the place to do it because Anna Huang just isn't like, I don't know, I read the first book in the Twisted series, and it was like okay, but I just feel like it's maybe a little too spicy for me. I love seeing new books, especially by Black authors, in my library. Like it just, it makes me so happy. They have so many really good options here. And this is a sapphic love story right here. I don't know, I just love my library so much. This is another book that just came out literally in January, and it's here in the library. I love the selection that they have here. I feel like the libraries are always so underrated.
Nice and kind of lined up. I'll try to let you know if you're not. You good? Okay, so we're all gonna hold on to it. Here we go. We got this. Here we go. It's 10, 9, 8. I need a second hint. You guys will know when I'm telling you the truth that I'm not. But anyway, most of you know that I'm not. It's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it in, set it down. Yes. Do what you can do. Get it down. Really? Yes, that's exactly it. Yes.
Now that I'm back home, I want to give you guys a little book review, and I also want to give you guys a book haul. I came back a lot later than planned because we have people working on our house, and if anyone knows what renovations are like, they are wild. Like, you don't really get a moment of peace, and so I've kind of been trying to spend a lot of time outside of the house because we have like 1,000,001 workers here. We are working on the basement right now. If you guys remember, like when we first moved into here, this house was a complete renovation, and it looks so much better than it used to, but there's still some things that we like need to get up to date. So yeah, it's a little bit later, a little bit darker than I would have liked. As you guys can see, the light is kind of not like as bright as it normally is, but we press on. I want to give you guys a quick book review of like the books that I read. I read Losing Control, and I've talked about this in one other vlog, maybe even two, because it took me a while to read this one. Absolutely loved it. I'm gonna rate this one 4 stars. This vlog is actually set over, I think, almost like a 2-week span, because I think I started it last Wednesday and it is now Friday. So almost, I guess, a week and a half. And then I also read Post Traumatic. This book was a wild ride. I don't think that I expected it to be what it was. The main character was very unlikable, which I feel like I've shared. But I think I'm gonna land with this one. I think 3.5 out of 5 stars. I think it was enjoyable for what it was, and I would definitely recommend it. I just would only recommend it to people who want like a messy read. I do think by the end of this book, I wanted to give her a big hug, because even though she was absolutely unbearable, I was like, okay, I see why you are the way that you are. And then I read Bear Town, which I've also talked about this a lot in this vlog. This was a read that was so powerful, so deep, and would definitely be one I would recommend. The writing style for me wasn't my favorite, but the story was incredible, and I definitely want to watch the HBO show. I think I'm gonna rate this one 3.5 as well, just because, again, the writing style was not my favorite, but the story itself was so powerful. Would be great for like a class or like a book club. And then I also read Let the Games Begin. This was a library book that I picked up. This one, I don't know, it kind of gave like YA vibes. Like, it didn't really feel like an adult story. It just felt like a young adult story. So if you're into that, definitely pick this one up. I think for me, I just wasn't in the mood for like a story that felt like a young adult novel. There are definitely romance scenes in this that I feel like kind of gave adult vibes, but they kind of didn't. And I don't know, I just couldn't really put my finger on why it felt like young adult. Maybe because it was set, like it was very focused on like the career of both of them and like this internship that like she's like wanting to do. But I know that this is not young adult because like when I bought it, it's literally on my shelf back there. It was in the like adult romance section. So I will say getting library books has made me pick up books that I would not normally pick up, which has been really great. And then I read a book, but I didn't really talk about it like at all, mostly because I wasn't really enjoying it very much. It wasn't bad, it just wasn't, and maybe because I was coming from such deep books, this one just didn't hit. But I hate just like harping on a book that I'm like not vibing with. I feel like it does a disservice to the author in a way, unless it's something that I feel like people should know, you know what I mean? I think maybe this was just like a mood thing. Like I just wasn't in the mood for this book in particular. It's only like 300 pages, so it goes really quickly. It's about a girl who is like, she had like a thing with her boyfriend and they end up breaking up, and she ends up like working with him, and he's like an influencer. There's just like a lot of moving parts. It was good. It just wasn't, I don't know. I don't know what it was. These books were books that were these books were highly anticipated for me because they're new authors, and I feel like I read The Kiss Quotient by Etta Easton and absolutely loved it. And I've read just like a lot of newer authors this year, but I don't know, I don't think that they were where I expected them to be. I think that I'll rate this one 3 stars, and I'll also rate this one 3 stars as well. And then this book right here was a really, really good read. I think that everyone who wants like a cutesy with a little smidge of spice, wants, you know, that small town feel, should definitely pick this one up. I'm gonna rate this one 4 stars. I think that's where I've landed with it. I could always change my ratings. I try to put up my ratings on Sundays. So if you guys see the ratings up, that means that whatever I rated the books in Goodreads, that's where they will stay, unless I like decide to read the book again for some reason. So the books that I got in my haul, I wish they were a little bit brighter. Should I go into the kitchen? Like, it'll be brighter in there. But then some of you guys have asked me to like not be in the kitchen. You said you'd rather me be like close. So maybe I'll just like stay where I'm at and just like get really close to the camera. I ended up getting so many books, and I have a book haul coming on Monday for you guys. So I have even more books that I picked up, but I think I ended up getting a total of 6 books. Yeah, I know, like, who am I? Like, what am I doing right now? But the problem is there's just so many books that are coming out, it's hard not to pick them all up. These books are all by Black authors, and you guys know that that for me is something really important, not just during Black History Month. I think this year more than ever, I want to read diverse reads, because I'm just realizing, like, people aren't reading them. Like, people aren't reading them in the way that they should, and I just feel like people are bypassing those stories, maybe because there isn't hype behind them, but there's not hype behind them because no one's picking them up. You know what I mean? Like, no one really wants to give a chance to a book that they haven't heard about until they hear about it, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna pick it up. So I wanna be that person that can be like, hey, this is a great book, pick it up, it's amazing, it's so fun, whatever. And I don't know, I'll be that person for you. And if you want to be that person for your friends, and I definitely think that you should, because these books deserve to be read. So this book actually just came out. This is called I Think They Love You by Julianne Winters. This is a queer love story. It says, I Think I Love You. I Think They Love You is a celebration of love, queer communities, big families in all their beautiful complications, healing, and most important, falling in love with the person you're becoming. And again, this book just came out, so I'm really excited to read this. I think it came out on the 4th of February, which is perfect for Valentine's Day. Like, how cute is this? I also picked up Such a Fun Age by Kylie Reed. This is a book I was actually looking at to get at the library, but the problem with me and getting contemporary fiction is when I'm in the mood for contemporary fiction, I'm in the mood for it. Like, it doesn't always come, and then when it's here, like I need to have that book on hand. So I just feel like I wouldn't really read this book if I don't have it on my shelf. I feel like picking up romance books, like I finish them, but it's just like a little bit more rare for me to pick up a contemporary fiction from the library and actually read it. So I wanted to buy this and get it for my shelf. This book right here, I don't know exactly what it's about, but I'm kind of fine going into it fairly blind. You guys actually recommended this book, which makes me want to read it even more. We were losing the light a little bit too much for me to finish the like book haul over there, so I want to finish it over here. So I picked up Bitter and Sweet, and this is by Rhonda McKnight. Now, I'm not someone who normally reads books by authors that I've never read from before. But I mean, not authors I haven't read from before. I'm not someone who reads books by authors that I haven't read from before that are already on my shelf and like pick up a new book. Does that even make any sense? Like I already have a book by this author on my shelf. That's what I'm trying to say. And usually I don't pick up another book by that same author unless I've read that other book. But Aaliyah was talking about this book and she was saying she really enjoyed it, and I love her channel, and I feel like her book recs a lot of the time with contemporary fiction specifically are very similar. I will say that this book was, or similar to me, I will say that this book was in the Christian like romance section, which I was or Christian like something, I think it was Christian romance or Christian fiction section. I was very surprised because I did not know that this was in that genre, but that's great because I love reading those types of books. This says, from the beloved author of The Thing About Home, which is the book that is on my shelf, comes a dual timeline tale of family, grief, secrets, and the sweet redemption that lies within the bonds of sisterhood. So excited to read this one. And then I also have this book, which I showed you guys I picked up at the library. Like I could have got it at the library, but it's fine. It's fine. I'm supporting an author that is, you know, probably underrepresented and also a Black author, but also I am gonna have this on my shelf for when I'm ready to read it. The library isn't super far from my house. It's like 20 or so minutes, but like to me it feels far. For you it probably doesn't feel far because like you're like 20 minutes, like what is that? But it's downtown, and like I live like on the outskirts, like by the lake, and so it does take like a little bit to get over there, you know, like park and whatever. So if I want to read this book, I'm gonna have it on my shelf, and I'm excited about that. I don't really know what it's about. It says, in a world without white people, what does it mean to be Black? Oh, I think I remember hearing people talk about this. It's like it's this author's debut novel, and it's like it pretty much begs the idea, like, what would life be like if there were not white people to exist? And I think that this book has ruffled a lot of people's feathers, but it's also a book that is very powerful. So I'll be interested to like see how I feel about it and like what it's even really about. And then I also picked up, which I showed you guys, actually, no, I showed you guys that book, but I didn't show you this one. I showed you this at the library, but I didn't tell you I got it. I picked up Harlem Rhapsody. So excited. This was like one of my most anticipated reads. I will say I have a little gripe with my bookstore because my bookstore does not have a ton of diverse reads, which is like whatever, like, you know, it is what it is. Like, it's frustrating, but I can't do anything about it. But I think when I see a book that comes in that is, so many people have said they're like excited to read it, it is a book that is like, you know, top of their list. On the back, Sadiqa Johnson, Kwame Alexander, there's like so many authors, Vanessa Riley, who have given great accolades to this book, and also Tayari Jones. This is the author who wrote The Personal Librarian, which was a very, very, very highly rated, highly acclaimed book. So to me, I'm like, when this book comes in, you know it's by the same author, y'all need to get stacks of this book. I go in, couldn't find it anywhere. I was like, where is this book? So I had to ask someone to see like where it was, and they went up to the front and they're like, oh, this is our only copy. It's all yours. And I'm like, only copy? only copy, and that happened so many times. I also picked up another book, Let Us March On. Again, only copy. It actually has like a little nick at the bottom, but I was like, you know what? I don't even care because they only have one copy of this book. I'm supporting this author. This says a stirring novel inspired by the life of unsung heroine and real-life crusader Lizzie McDuffie, who, as a maid in Franklin D. Roosevelt's White House, spearheaded the civil rights movement of her time. Again, this just came out on the 4th. It was an anticipated read for me. And this book right here, it says, she found the literary voices that would inspire the world. This is the extraordinary story of the woman who ignited the Harlem Renaissance. So, again, I'm really excited for both of these, but I went in and there were so many books that they didn't have because they only had one copy. Like, I went in to buy The Love Lyric by Christina Forrest, and literally the guy, he was like looking up for me. He's like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, we only had one copy, and someone has already reserved it. And I'm like, this is wild, because this author has so many great books and so many high ratings, and I don't know, it was just kind of like a shock to me. So I definitely go to independent bookstores when I can, but we only have a used independent bookstore in town. We don't have a bookstore that has new books in town. So I did buy some books from Call and Response Bookstore, which is in Chicago. It's like a Black-owned bookstore. I bought The Love Lyric from there, so it'll be coming in soon. But it was just wild because I was like, oh, what if I want to read it? But I got enough books. Like, I don't have to read that right now. So yeah, those are all the books that I picked up. I got a total of 6 books, and I'm really excited to read them, all by Black authors. And you guys know that this is something that is like so important to me, just to not only read, but also to highlight, because these authors deserve all of the hype, and especially with new releases, it's so easy to let the books get lost on the shelves, and I don't want to do that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Tuesday, there will be a Amazon book haul, but also in that book haul, I'm gonna be sharing a bunch of packages from independent bookstores that I bought, because, you know, I am always supporting independent bookstores too. And there'll be a bunch of books by indie authors that don't have a ton of reviews, that are like, y'all get your pocketbooks ready, okay? Get your pocketbooks ready, because yeah, I also feel like in this vlog, during like the beginning of the vlog, I wasn't talking as much about books because we were obviously traveling, and I didn't really read as much as I normally do on vacation, because it was a very, very like go trip. And my, friend turned 30. We've been friends since I was like 14, 15, somewhere around there. And I also knew her husband in high school, which is cool, because like I knew both of them in high school, but they like didn't date in high school. They ended up dating later. And then her husband ended up working for Brady's office for 3 years. And then now he has his own office. After you like work under an agent for a few years, and they like train you in a way, like you can take over someone else's office that retired. So just such a cool like trip, because it's very rare to find friends where like you're really close with someone, but also your husband is too. But I wasn't reading as much, and I feel like I got in my head and I was like, oh, like people aren't gonna like this vlog because like I'm not talking as much about reading and like books. But I just feel like I enjoy sharing my life with you guys, and it has taken me a long time to get to the point where I feel like happy to say that, just because last year was very, very tough, and I was like, I can't even think about anything at all. I don't want to talk about anything at all. All I want to do is read, and all I want to talk about is books. And now I feel like I am like more open to sharing like recipes and workouts and books and book hauls and, the books that I donate and all the things. So it just makes me excited to like kind of have my spark back. I'm going to take these braids out. That's when my real spark is like all the way back, when I have the capacity to do my hair. But I just feel really grateful for you guys for always being here, no matter what I'm talking about, no matter what we're doing. Whether it's at the library, whether it's at a bookstore, whether it's, at a workout, whether I'm talking about the food that I'm eating, like just whatever. I feel very, very grateful for you guys always. So I will see you guys on Tuesday. If you guys want more from me, you love my chats, I just put up a podcast episode called popular books that were worth the hype and some that weren't, or something like that. And you can always go listen to that. It's like 40 minutes long of me just talking straight about books. And I answer some questions that you guys left over on my podcast Instagram. So love you guys so much. I will shut up now and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.